Hello fellow potatoes, today I'm here with Mr. Sun and finally we're gonna have Hyper Potato secret recipe number 2, which is Mr. Sun's Ancient World Overturn Chief Jaeger deck.
Okay, actually I've been playing Ancient World since the ancient times, so you can say that basically I know most of the cards, but as you know, Dragon Chief Emperor uses so many new cards. So yeah, I might as well make a new deck recipe. Okay, without further ado, let's just start my Overturn Chief deck. Okay, first of all, let's start with the flag and the body. As you can see, I use the secret flag. It just makes you feel stronger with a secret flag. Okay, yeah, let's do the body aside. And the first card we're going to review is the star of the deck, Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger. Okay.
That's one sick Jaeger.
Okay, he's a very powerful card with the Overturn ability. His ability is you need to discard one card and then you can put 5 cards from the top of your deck into his soul. And he gains 1 critical for each monsters put into his soul by this effect. But actually you can also put more monsters from the skill of other cards. And you can basically insert 10 criticals into your opponent's life in the first turn, if you're lucky enough.
Yeah, that's a first turn kill.
Yeah. And for your information, this card also has Penetrate, so he... yeah, he's basically a very powerful card.
Yeah, and by adding 5 cards into his soul, he'll also gain a very huge wall.
Yeah, okay. And for the next turn, if you didn't manage to finish your opponent, yeah, at least you still have a very thick wall to protect you from your opponent's attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, your opponent will need to destroy him for at least 6 times.
That's minimum.
Yeah, before they can penetrate you. Sorry, that sounds so wrong. Okay, moving on to the next card. It's the Buddy. Great Pirate Captain Kaido.
Let me put this here.
Okay. As we already know, Captain Kaido is a very staple card in the Dragon Chief Emperor decks. He's a very technical card with a very good stat, I guess, with a power of 5000 and critical of 2, and the skill to put any cards from the soul on the cards on the field to the owner's hand, including your opponent's cards. So, well, this card basically can control the field very nicely. If you really need a card from the soul, you can also take it from a monster or from anything. And if you really need to destroy your opponent's monster quickly, you can just bounce them up into your opponent's hand.
Yeah, and for Overturn Chief, he gets like 5 souls from the top of the deck, so yeah, you can find something really good inside his soul.
Yeah, so no card wasted.
Just fetch it with Captain Kaido.
Okay, the next one is Great Ocean High King Dual Jaeger. Okay, this one has been a very good card since the ancient times, since Dragon Chief Emperor came out. Yeah, his skill is you can salvage any cards from the drop zone by discarding 1 card from your hand. He doesn't have double attacks nor penetrate, but his critical is 3, so it's pretty good. This is using this just because it's a base Jaeger and you need many Jaegers in your deck because you can't play anything without them in your center. Yeah. So let's just put him here. And the second one is Chief of 7 Seas Dual Jaeger Ocean. Another boss card I put inside. He is basically a very good offense card because you can put more cards from your deck into the drop zone so you can salvage them later. And if you're lucky enough, you can get the very powerful skill which is double attack and penetrate. Okay. And another boss card, and I suppose this is one of the secret weapon in this deck, is the Soaring Surging Chief Dual Jaeger Dynamite. Most people will say that, okay, this deck only mains on Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger, so yeah, maybe they won't expect any dynamite inside. Yeah, and besides, this deck usually doesn't have the engine needed to make a good dynamite deck, a good turbo dynamite deck like the old Dragon Chief Emperor. Yeah, but this card can still manage inside. I rarely put him down into the field though actually, but well, this might act as a good finisher. Here comes one of my favorite card in this deck, which is the Erudite Dragon Emperor Philosophia. This card is not a Dragon Chief Emperor, but it's a very good secret weapon that will startle your opponent so much. You know, maybe they'll only say that, oh, Dragon Chief Emperor only used Ocean Chief Spirit as a card to stand your dual Jaegers, but no, you're wrong. Okay. And we are going into the size 2 monsters. The first one are Chief of Heal, Healing Rain. I guess I don't really need to explain that much about this card. Most of the Dragon Chief Emperor players and most of Buddyfight players already know how good he is.
Yeah, he. Look at that flavor text.
He says, a sweet idol within the chiefs, but he is a man. He.
Don't get fooled by his look. I'm sorry.
Okay, so his skill is basically you can discard him from your hand to charge 1, draw 1, and to charge 1, put a card from the top of your deck into a monster on your field and to gain 1 life. Yeah, so you got so many advantages from discarding him.
He's pretty lit.
Pretty what?
Pretty lit.
Okay, the next one is Wicked Dragon of Fabrication, Demonica. Well, as you all already know, this is a spell nullifier for Ancient World, the one and only. Yeah, this is a very straightforward deck, I guess. Yeah, you basically just put as many criticals as you can into your Overturn Chief, go penetrate your opponent with 8 to 9 criticals,
or even 10.
And while your opponent uses a nullifier spell, you can just negate them with Demonica. This looks pretty similar like Battle Poet's deck, but I guess this one has more mechanics to it.
Yeah.
And this one, Chief of Armors Under the Can. I'm also not familiar with his name. He was not many people uses him until Overturn Chief came out. He's basically just one card in your trial deck and you just put in your trunk.
Yeah, no one bats an eye.
Yeah. And while I was searching through the net for some references, I saw some people using this card. And yeah, his skill is just as simple as that. Put this card from your hand into the soul of a size 3 Dragon Chief Emperor monster on your field. Just put it inside. Yeah. You may need them to increase the critical and the soul of your Overturn Chief, since that's the main focus of your deck. And these cards, I think I can just explain both of them simultaneously. Yeah, as most of us already know, since the God Vortoise came out, these guys have been very good to put inside Dual Jaeger's soul. This one, no curves say when it's inside Dual Jaeger's soul, your Dual Jaegers basically cannot be destroyed by any effect of monsters. Yeah, you can protect your opponent from your Dual Jaeger from Baal Soleil or anything, or Abigail, I guess. And this one, Underling Battery Den, if it's inside your Dual Jaeger, when your Dual Jaeger attacks, you can charge 1 from your top of your deck. Okay, so it's basically a battery for your Dual Jaeger. And the next one is Underling Bad Guy Model. A card to increase your Dual Jaeger's power and defense, whether he is attacking or being attacked, and to draw another card. It's a very good card since the first Dragon Chief Emperor came out.
Yeah, he's just pretty strong. No wonder he's a triple rare.
I was trying so hard to find him.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Okay, Apprentice Underling Kong, our favorite little monster. Yeah, he's, well, I really think I don't really need to talk too much about him. When you call him, you can check top 3 cards of your deck and pick one Dragon Chief Emperor monster among them and put it into your hand. Okay. This card is a searcher to help you find your Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger, since this deck doesn't have any cards to draw like Dragon Emperor Legend or Divine Dragon Creation. Yeah. And as you can see, most of the cards here are monsters. I think it's more than half of the deck.
I think it's more than half.
Are monsters. Yeah, because your focus is to increase the Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger's soul
with monsters
and to increase his critical. So you really want to use his Overturn and put as many monsters as you can with that skill. Okay, I think we are finished with the monsters. Let's put them aside so we can
continue with the rest of the deck. So basically this deck is like so powerful. It can hit really hard since the first turn. Like most people say that, oh, the people who plays the people who go second on a Buddyfight will win the match. But this deck is one of the deck that says no.
Yeah, you can give your opponents 10 criticals right from the start
and just Demonica.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of the best deck right now.
Yep. And let's continue to the spell cards I use in this deck. Jajang! Ocean Chief Spirit. I use 4 of these because, well, the main focus of the deck is the offense. So even if your Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger's attack is nullified or he is being rested, you can just use Ocean Chief Spirit. And it's not limited to once per turn usage, so you can just use one, and even if it's nullified, you can use another one. And if it's not enough, you still have Philosophia in your deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kinda sick actually. Can you imagine like being hit with 8 criticals 3 or 4 times in one turn?
Yeah,
that's really crazy.
This is a pretty straightforward deck, but it also has so many technical play in it. Usually you can use it with Kaido or with this card, Reflection Dragon Moon. You can pay 1 life to salvage 1 size 3 Dragon Chief Emperor monster from your drop into your hand and then charge 1 from the top of your deck. Okay, so this card is very technical and you can use it with Kaido. You can basically salvage the cards from your drop zone when you use Kaido's cost, or when you're using cost from other Jaegers, or by milling the cards. And you can take anything from it. And even when your Overturn Chief Soul is being depleted by your opponent's attack, you can salvage any of them with this. The size 3 ones.
You can just salvage Kaido and start playing with Kaido.
Yeah.
Do this and that.
Do this and that. And if you're lucky enough, you have enough drop zone and enough gauge, you can salvage Dynamite with this for another quadruple attack.
Yeah, and this one also charges, right?
Yes.
Charge a gauge.
So it's a pretty good card, I guess. I still use 4 of them because I need to find my Overturn Chief as quick as possible. So even if it's being milled or if it's being discarded by paying gauge or anything, I can still salvage him using this Reflection Dragon Moon. Okay, Another spell that is also I consider a staple in Dragon Chief Emperor deck is Dragonic Determination. Its skill is also very simple. When you have a dual Jaeger in your field, you can charge 2 and heal 2. That's it. Charge 2 and heal 2 is a pretty powerful effect, I guess.
Yeah, especially in today's meta where a lot of OTKs like can just hit like give you like 10 damage in one turn. So like having 2 extra life is really reassuring.
Yes.
That's a good choice.
I put 3 of them. And the next card is Dragon Within the Ocean. I put 2 of this card because I need to search for Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger as quick as possible. And one thing you need to pay attention to is this card is not a Dragon Chief Emperor. So yeah, make sure you don't mistake it when you want to use Dynamite skill or the Great Ocean Hiking or the Ocean Champion Dual Jaeger skill. You cannot salvage this card. Yep, pay 1 gauge and pay 1 life to search a size 3 Dragon Chief Emperor. And this one, Legend of the Colossal Ocean. I think this is a very powerful but underrated spell. Right? Because it was inserted into the secret pack of Dual Jaeger, but no one's ever used it until this time. Right? But when you read the skill, it's actually pretty good. You can choose either one of the following 2, put a card from a drop zone into the soul of a monster on your field, or you can counter to put a soul from a card on the field into the drop zone. Well, this deck usually uses the first skill of it, which is to put a card from your drop zone into the soul of a monster. This can increase the soul of your Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger, and you can insert No Curve Stay or Battery Drain, or just basically any card you need to you need to put into your hand with Kaido skill. So yeah, it's kind of technical. And the counter skill, you can use it to counter most cards in your opponent's soul, mainly like the Neo Dragons, Triple Buster.
Yeah, that's like the strongest card.
Or your opponent's Extra Dimension or anything. Well, this card is actually pretty good, but it's so underrated. I don't know why. Well, so I used 8, 11, only 15 spells in this deck.
35 of them are
35 monsters. Yeah. It's mainly to focus on Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger's Overturn and his skill which increases his critical equal to the number of monsters in his soul. So yeah, I only use spells as little as possible. Okay, now I'll try to discuss some alternatives you can use in these decks. The first one is the charger you need. I use Dragonic Determination because it also increases your life by 2, but some people out there uses for Volca. Some people out there uses for Volca the Dragon Emperor card, the old one, the cute little white fox dragon. Basically, if you have a size 3 monster on your field, you can just discard him to charge 2. Lots of them are using him because he is also a monster and he can be put into the Overturn Chief soul and it can increase his critical too. So basically their decks are mostly consist of monsters and they are going to lessen the spell more. But I don't really like that, and I prefer to heal my life and to increase my life by 2 points because it can also make so much difference in the game. Okay, and another one is many people are also using more Demonica than I use. Some of them are even using 4. 4 Demonicas, or there are also who uses 4 Philosophia. Yeah, it's usually up to you, but I like it this way because it's more technical and you get more alternatives and more choices you can apply in the game, adapting to your opponent's playstyle. If you're using more Philosophia or Demonica, you're making a very straightforward deck, I guess, and I don't really like that one. It will make it so similar to Battle Poet's deck, where you just insert and increases the red ones critical and let them attack your opponents and just nullify it. It's basically almost the same, but I think the strength of this deck is because this is more technical and there are so many things you can do with this deck. You just need to do experiments by fighting your opponents and battling more decks and just trying to adapt to the situations. Okay, and then as we all know, not much longer we are going to expect a new set, which is the Climax Booster.
Driven to Disorder. I'm really excited for that set. What do you think?
The name is so menacing. Driven to Disorder. Yeah, maybe some of you have already seen the new Ancient World cards which are going to be featured in there, which is the Dual Jaeger Gaia Bust and the new base Dual Jaeger where you can salvage another one and put it on top of him without paying the call cost, so it can increases the number of your attacks. I forgot what his name is.
Let's just call him Base Jaeger.
Yeah, let's just call him Base Jaeger number X.
There's so many Base Jaeger already.
Yeah, so maybe if the new cards have come out, maybe we cannot play with this kind of deck anymore. We cannot use this straightforward 10 criticals Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger deck, but maybe we'll use decks with more attacks, because that base Jaeger has double attack, and then you can call another one from your drop zone, which is the Gaia Bust that has triple attacks. He's also a new card. And then if you already have enough cards in your drop zone, you can call another Dynamite. So you can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 4. You can attack 9 times in your turn, plus Kaido and Kong. So it's 11 times. Oh, and another card I'm so excited for is the new hat they're featuring in the Driven to Disorder booster pack.
Oh yeah, the white hat that looks like a certain character's head.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I really love Dragon Chief Emperor's item because they usually can attack even when you have a monster in your center. And the hats are so cool. It makes you really feel like a Ocean Chief, a sailor.
Chief.
Ocean Chief. Yeah. Using that item really makes you feel stronger. And it really is strong. His skill is you can mill 2 cards from the top of your decks and you can charge 2 from the top of your deck. It's a very good card, very good staple.
Especially when you wanna call as much Jaeger as you can, you'll need a lot of gauge.
Yes, a lot of gauge and the cards to salvage them from your drop zone in case they are being milled. This one. So yeah, I actually haven't really do some simulations about the new cards from the upcoming booster packs, but I guess we cannot really use this list anymore.
So we're gonna have another recipe?
Yep. So until that booster pack comes out, let's just enjoy ourselves with this Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger deck and give your opponent a very hard time, giving them 7 or 8 damages right from the first turn.
That's like so crazy.
Yep, it really puts you in a very big advantage actually.
And with 5 souls or more, that's like so crazy.
Yep. And so let's just give a brief summary about this deck. So you basically have a Dragon Chief, Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger, put 5 cards into his soul, and then you just attack your opponent. And if your opponent nullifies your attacks, first you can use your Demonica to nullify his spell activation. Oh, where's my Demonica? You can use Demonica to nullify his spell activation, or if you cannot, you can just restand your Dual Jaeger with Philosophia or with Ocean Chief Spirit to give your opponents another beating.
That's a very interesting choice of word.
Yep. So actually this is we may think of it as a very simple and straightforward deck, but when you're actually playing with it and you try to explore it deeper, you can find that there are so many alternatives, so many choices you can make with this deck, and you can just try to do some experiments while doing battles with many decks and try to adapt to your opponent's playstyle. But the winning image I can give you is by giving as much damage as you can, and even if you don't succeed, you can still have your secret weapon, the Dual Jaeger Dynamite. Okay. So any questions you wanna put or you wanna give, or any suggestions, you can just put it
on the comment section below.
In the comment section, maybe I forgot to mention some things, or maybe you have some good combos to use with this Overturn Chief Dual Jaeger decks. And while waiting for the new upcoming booster packs, I guess this is a very good deck you can bring into the tournaments and give a shocking to your opponents. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Okay.
So that's the end of the deck recipe by Mr. Sun.
Hey, thank you for having me.
We're gonna have more deck recipes after this, so stay tuned with us. Hyper Potatoes,
Signing out.